All right, Shalom Akim. First and foremost, I want to begin this lesson by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the head apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Much due honors and respect to all you fellow laborers, pushing out this gospel, continuing to labor in his work, in all truth, faith, and sincerity. So yeah, I just want to get into another quick lesson. More proof that the men of GMS, Great Millstone, all right, the organization, the cult, or whatever you want to deem us as, is actually prophesied in the scriptures, all right? Because you had this guy, Alizé, who did a video entitled, "Is the Lord Only Dealing with One Group?" And the answer to that is yes, man, all right? The Lord is not the author of confusion. And you're going to have men to refute that or disagree with that. Well, for argument's sake, I'll throw you a bone, all right? Give you something to argue with. The scriptures tell you that there was a man who prophesied in the name of Yahweh Shai, and the disciples forbade him, all right? And the Lord Yahweh Shai told the disciples, look, whoever is not against us is with us. And you have that today. You have certain men that, don't necessarily carry the name GMS, yet they are teaching the doctrine of the apostles, which means they are of us, man. So, of course, the Lord is only dealing with one group. The Lord is not dealing with various camps and various groups who have their own belief, different breakdowns, man. All right? And the proof of that is when Yahweh Shai was on the scene himself, man. He did not call in everybody, the wicked Pharisees, or anybody that was speaking something contrary to what he brought. All right? He only dealt with the disciples and those men who was recruited under them. And to go deeper, the Lord is only dealing with the prophets, man. All right? The prophets of old, who came back in the reincarnation, and they right here at Great Millstone, man. Matter of fact, before we get into this lesson, let me get that real quick. This is the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 14, and verse 32. It says, and the spirits of the prophets are subject to the prophets. That's right. So the Lord don't change, man. The men who he revealed his secrets to in the times of old, Jeremiah, Isaiah, Ezekiel, Ezra, all right, Daniel, well, those men are going to come back in their same lot. The Lord is not going to change, all right, with the times, just because in this world you got people who desire to know the word of the Lord and desire to be prophets, all right? The Lord don't compromise, man. He deal with his men. So that answers your question right there. Of course the Lord is only dealing with one group, all right? But you guys, you just don't get it, all right? This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 8. And starting at verse 14. And he shall be a sanctuary, but for a stone of stumbling and for a rock of offense to both the houses of Israel, for a gin, for a snare to the inhabitants of Jerusalem. Yeah, and this is actually dealing with Yahweh Shai, all right? Which Yahweh Shai was a rock of offense, man. He was offensive to Israel and Jerusalem when he came on the scene in the physical 2,000 years ago. If it was not so, they wouldn't have came up against him, man, and ultimately hand him over to the Romans to be crucified. So the Lord Yahweh Shai was offensive. And it says, a stone of stumbling, all right? Which the Lord, when he was on the scene, he spoke in parables. The disciples was inquiring, Lord, why are you speaking in parables? Aren't you here to deliver Israel? Well, that's proof that the Lord Yahweh Shai himself was a rock of offense and a stone of stumbling. Now, when you look at these words, rock and stone, that's not by coincidence, man, that the men here at Great Millstone carry that title. All right? That's not a coincidence, man. Because if you know the scriptures and you claim to know the Most High, you know that the Most High have dominion over everything. There's nothing that ever resisted his will, man. If a sparrow fall from the ground, guess what? The Lord sanctioned that. So you tell me it's coincidence that these key buzzwords in the scriptures, when describing Yahweh Shai, all right, the men here at Great Millstone actually carry that title. That's not a coincidence, man. That's not a coincidence. If that was of men, all right, then the Lord would have brought that to naught, man. All right? But what did the Lord do? The Lord made Great Millstone flourish. We the only camp that have members all over the world, man. All right? Now, the scriptures say Yahushua was, a stone of stumbling and a rock of offense. And that spirit of Yahushua, it lives today. Even though he's in the heavens, his spirit, that same spirit is here today. And that spirit has rested in Great Millstone, all right? Because even when you look on a physical level, the spirit needs a body to dwell in, all right? That spirit needs a body to dwell in. And on this level, the spirit of the Lord is dwelling in the house of David, which is deep because when you go into that word for body in the Latin, it actually means house. So if the Lord was offensive and a stone of stumbling, if that's the spirit, that's his spirit, his nature, his character, because that's your spirit, well, that spirit is alive today and is thriving here in Great Millstone, man. When the men of Great Millstone, that video came out, that "You're a Slut" video, that was offensive. That offended a lot of people, man. A lot of men drew back from following Great Millstone because it was so extreme, all right? And also, the Lord was a stone of stumbling, which Great Millstone is a stone of stumbling, man. The whole Cornelius topic, people stumbled at that. The rape doctrine, people stumbled at that, man, all right? So again, it says, and he shall be for a sanctuary, but for a stone of stumbling and for a rock of offense to both the houses of Israel, for a gin and for a snare to the inhabitants of Jerusalem. Right, because these black consciousness, whoever who encountered Great Millstone, they were snared up by us, man. Why? Because the spirit of Yahushua is rested in us, man. Did not the Lord tell Peter, upon this rock, all right, you that rock, and upon this rock I will build my church? See, the thing is, you guys is not spiritual, all right? Things of that nature should jump out. That should jump out to you, man. Verse 15, and many among them shall stumble and fall and be broken and be snared and be taken. Bind up the testimony, seal the law among my disciples, all right? I want to look up a couple of words. All right, first I want to look up the word for bind up, all right? Let's get the pronunciation first.
Strong's H, 6887. Sarer. Sarer.
It says, to bind, be narrow, be in distress, make narrow, cause distress. Besiege, be straitened, be bound. To bind, tie up, shut up. All right? The Lord said, bind up this law with his disciples, which, hey, that's a cut on you Old Testament guys who don't believe that Yahushua was spoken of in the Old Testament, because that word disciples, that stands out, man. What the word disciple doing in the Old Testament, which I'm not sure, I don't know how true this is, but I believe that's the only time that word disciple is mentioned in the Old Testament. The word disciple is more of a New Testament word. So what the hell is doing in the Old Testament, all right? It says to be scant, be cramped in, be in straits, to bound, to be bound, be tied up. And here at Great Millstone, we bound up everything amongst us, man. We don't just let anybody in. All right? Let's look at more. All right? It says to make narrow, for cause distress, to press hard upon, to suffer distress, to show hostility toward, vex, to show hostility toward, treat, enmity, vex, harass, vexer, harasser, which all these definitions links up with Great Millstone, man. All right? This links up with Great Millstone. We are not liked among men. They tell you that we're the most hated group, right? Well, if that's the case, this is St. John chapter 15 and verse 20. Remember the word that I said unto you, the servant is not greater than his Lord. If they have persecuted me, they will also persecute you. If they had kept my saying, they will keep yours also. So this is proof right here that great millstone is prophesied about, man. All right? We the most hated group. That's well documented. Even other groups tell you that. All right? These other groups, they able to get together and put their differences aside. They able to have these summits. And who is left out? Great millstone. Why? Because we are persecuted and hated. The same way they did our Lord Yahweh Shah. All right? Verse 21, but all these things will they do unto you for my name's sake, because they know not him that sent me. See? They don't know the Most High. Because when you really go into it, the Most High set apart the true believers from the beginning of time, from the foundation of the earth. That's why the Lord said, those you have given me. All right? Verse 22, if I had not come and spoken unto them, they had not had sin, but now they had no cloak for their sin. And how is the Lord speaking to you, man? Through the men of great millstone, the very men that you hate, the very men that you persecute. So if you spiritual, this will jump out to you. You will know, look, man, great millstone is in the scriptures, but you guys are not spiritual. That's why you dismiss us as just being regular men. All right? This is the book of Matthew. The book of Matthew, chapter 7. And start at verse, I start at verse 20. Wherefore by their fruits ye shall know them. That's right. And this fruit, all right, which only the men here at Great Millstone has gathered fruit from all over the world. And fruit also goes into understanding, all right? Understanding and knowledge. Well, all you guys, you picked off Great Millstone tree, man. Here it is. You got guys that come up against the Apostle Taha and the apostles and the men of Great Millstone, yet they wouldn't know the name of the Lord if it wasn't for these men. They wouldn't know that they was Israelites if it wasn't for these men. They wouldn't know who their enemies were, all right? They wouldn't know who the other nations were. They wouldn't know that they was in captivity or they was in Babylon the Great. This was all because the Lord spoke to them by way of Great Millstone, all right? So you should know them by their fruits, man. If the men, look, man, when I first started listening to Great Millstone, I was getting cut in the spirit, all right? But I understood by their fruits that these was the men of the Lord. Verse 21, not every one that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. Right, which is another cut on you, Alizé. You saying that the Lord is dealing with multiple groups. Well, you call on the name of the Lord, all right? These clowns down in Georgia, teachers of the truth, all right? Tots, the brothers call them, all right? You got them clowns up in Chicago, fried and refined, and so on and so forth, all right? You got plenty of groups that's calling on Yahweh Shah, but they're not going to be delivered. Why? Because they're not a part of that one group who the Lord is dealing with. So you guys think that you in good graces with the Most High, but you're outside of Great Millstone or the teachings of Great Millstone, and you think just because you putting up videos and you going out, all right, and you calling on the name, you opening up your videos with Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah, that's not going to do it. You had to come up under, you had to build your foundation on Great Millstone. And the scripture going to say that. Verse 22, many will say unto me in that day, Lord, Lord, have not we prophesied in thy name? and in thy name have cast out devils, and in thy name done many wonderful works. See? And that's what you guys do. You go out there and you curse out devils. You go out on the streets, you teach, and you do it in the name of the Lord. Yet, you didn't come under the right order. You was not of the house of David. And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you, depart from me, ye that work iniquity. Verse 24, therefore whosoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them, I will liken him unto a wise man which built his house upon a rock. See, you see the difference? Those guys who was out there teaching, they was calling on the name of the Lord. They was casting out devils. They was doing many wonderful works. But what? See that? They didn't build their house upon that rock, which is what rock? Great millstone, man. You didn't build your house upon that rock, man. You didn't come in through the proper channels. Verse 25, and the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat upon that house, the house of David. And it fell not, for it was founded upon a rock, which is that very rock, Yahushua, which is here today. The Lord ain't dead, man. The Lord is alive and well. He's just in the spirit. And his spirit is rested in the house of David, the body, this body of great millstone, that rock. So you damn right the Lord only dealing with one group, man. He's dealing with one house. You can't build your house on a rock and build your house part rock and part sand. You can't deal with multiple foundations, man. You guys is out of your mind. All right, verse 26. And everyone that heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them not. Yeah, and that's you guys that heard Great Millstone, Sakari, Chicago guy, those teachers of truth guy down in Georgia, and Yakanan, and whatever these cats, the clowns and characters. Yeah, they heard the sayings of the Lord, but they didn't do them. They heard the sayings by Great Millstone, man. Shall be likened unto a foolish man, which built his house upon sand. See, and we do call you niggas fools, man. We liken you unto fools. We don't take you dudes serious, man. There's nothing deep about no guy that, you know, ear hustled another man and then ran off and tried to make it like he knows something. That's not a wise man. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat upon that house, and it fell, and great was the fall of it. See? And it came to pass when Yahushua ended these sayings, the people were astonished at his doctrine, for he taught them as one having authority and not as the scribes. And that's the difference between Great Millstone and the rest of you scribes, the rest of you camps. You don't teach with authority, man. All right? You want to teach in that soft spirit, and that's why you're offended of us, because we tell you straight up the Lord is only dealing with us, man. That's authority. But you guys are not sure, so you make that entrance broad instead of being narrow and to the point. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Until the next time I say shalom.